So next up is one that I just got done watching. This is the brand new Netflix film, Mother of the Bride. Mother of the Bride is the brand new Netflix film starring Miranda Cosgrove and Brooke Shields. This also has a great supporting cast. Let's get into it. When Lana's daughter, Emma, returns from a year abroad in London, she drops a bombshell on her mother. She's getting married on an island next month. Things only can get worse when Lana discovers that the mystery man who stole her daughter's heart just so happens to be the son of the man who broke hers years ago. Again, this stars Brooke Shields, Miranda Cosgrove, Benjamin Bratt, Rachel Harris, Chad Michael Murray, and Michael McDonald. Why do I bring up Chad Michael Murray and Michael McDonald? Chad Michael Murray does have a role in this film. For all you fans in here, I hate to say it, he's not in all that much. For all the women who love him, especially a couple in particular, you will get some some very, very good looks at him. For me, I was watching this for Miranda Cosgrove. This is her first massive thing that she's done as a lead besides iCarly, besides the Despicable Me films, besides the little horror films she did. This is the first one that I was very intrigued with, and I gotta say, I love this movie. I love this movie. It is so freaking sweet. It did everything for me. It did everything it needed to do. Does that mean that it doesn't have flaws? No. I'm here to review the movie, but I'm just going to say as a fan, I love this movie. I really do. And I will say this, I might be a little bit biased because this is my bread and butter. Wedding films, this type of storyline is something that my movie-loving mind thrives on. My movie-loving fandom thrives on this as a romance fan, as a wedding movie fan. We've seen all these before. Yes, we have. But that's not saying that it doesn't have its issues. Let's get into the issues first, and then we'll go into the fantastic elements of this movie as a fan for me and as a critic. Now, this movie is not amazing in a filmmaking capacity. There's nothing phenomenal about the cinematography. There's nothing innovative about the way they edit this film or shoot all the fantastic, beautiful locations. There's nothing fantastic about it. It's all the standard lovely shots we get in all these destination wedding romance films. This movie also does have a very cliched ending. That's a romance film for you. That's a wedding film. That's what you need here. There is a moment here in the third act where it does feel a little bit rushed, where they needed to add in a little bit of conflict, and I thought that was just thrown in there a little, just too shoehorned in there is kind of what I'm looking for. I wanted more from it. I am looking forward to what we get from Miranda Cosgrove in the future, because she was fantastic in this film. She gave everything to this role. She gave range, she gave emotion, she gave the comedy aspects. The line delivery is fantastic. Brooke Shields is still beautiful at her age. This woman has aged gracefully. This movie only has a couple issues, and that is the climax felt a little bit forced, and I thought you could have done a little bit more with the actual wedding, because what they do here is they more lean into the fact of the mother and father of the bride and groom-to-be used to be exes, and it's more about these adults than it is the kids getting married. And that's not a bad thing, because there are very funny moments here. This is a PG-13 style film with some sexual aspects to it, with some sexual references, some very strong language. But this is still a very cliched film. As a fan of that stuff, however, let's get into that. This movie worked for me on almost every level. I enjoyed the comedy aspect. It gave me everything I wanted. These vacation or destination type films like A Couple's Retreat works for me. I love the Couple's Retreat film. I love wedding films. I love these rom-coms. This is my bread and butter. It's my bread and butter. And it's not very easy for me to dislike a romance film. This film, however, works for me because you do have a lot of aspects going for it. You're giving me a nostalgia trip by giving me Michael McDonald. I grew up watching him as Stewart on Mad TV. I grew up with Brooke Shields. I grew up with Miranda Cosgrove. I grew up with Chad Michael Murray. I grew up with a lot of these people. This movie really does work on every level for me. I enjoyed this film. It's funny, it's heartfelt, it has emotion, but that doesn't mean it's a perfect film. Chad Michael Murray is kind of wasted. He's in it for maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes, if that, and after there's something that happens where he's no longer in the film, and yeah, that's going to take a couple people off, but you know what? I will say the way they went with it, you knew where it was going. It's still nice to see him getting work. I'm looking forward to seeing what he has coming up, but I enjoyed this film as a whole, guys. I don't know what else to say about this film. I really enjoyed Mother of the Bride. I don't know if this is my second or third favorite film of the entire year, but right now I'm leaning between a 4 and a 4.5 star for this one. Right now, I think I'm just going to go with a 4.5 out of 5 for this one. Those little problems could be a 4, but it's just the pure fun I had with this. It's only an hour and a half, and that's the exact runtime it needs to be. It doesn't overstay its welcome. With those issues, though, as a critic, I do have to say that's what kind of bogs this down a little bit for me.